Coffee, water, or breakfast. Something goes in first, every morning. Most people never think about which, and mostly they're right not to. But one part of your first hour has a measured cost. It isn't the coffee, it isn't the order, it's what you swallowed with it. One very common tablet taken with your first coffee gives you about 2/3 of its dose. That is a measurement, not an opinion, published in 2008. I'll show you the paper. The fix is free, and it takes 1 hour. You're not chasing anything dramatic. You feel rough until about 10, and you'd like not to. 4 things go into you in that first hour: water, coffee, breakfast, fermented food. 2 of the rules about them are worth nothing. 1 is worth more than everything else in this video put together. And if you take this 1 tablet, that one is about you specifically. I'm Alan Reed. I don't sell supplements, and I never will. I read the studies so you don't have to, and I tell you what they actually found, including when the answer is nothing. And before anything else, I'm not a doctor, and this is not medical advice. It's what the research says. What you do with it is between you and your pharmacist. One thing first, because it changes how you hear the rest. There is a real, measured thing your body does when you wake up. It's called the cortisol awakening response. Cortisol climbs in the first half hour after your eyes open, then comes back down. That is not a problem. It's the system that gets you out of bed. Almost every morning rule you've been given is built on top of that one true fact. The fact is real. What people built on it is where this gets interesting. 4 rules, in order. Rule 1. Warm water first thing before anything else. You've been told it wakes up your digestion, that it protects your stomach lining, that cold water shuts the whole thing down. I looked for the human evidence on water temperature. Here is all of it. Gastric emptying has been measured at cold, at body temperature, and at hot. The results don't agree with each other. And when somebody put a probe in a stomach and measured what actually happens to cold water, it warmed from about 23 degrees back up past 30 within 5 minutes. Your stomach is not a delicate machine you can shock with a cold drink. It's an organ that holds 37 degrees for a living. So, warm if you like it warm. That's a preference, and preferences are allowed. It is not a mechanism. Now the part that is real, because there is something here. 2008. 24 overweight adults, average age 61. So, your age group, not students. 500 milliliters of water 30 minutes before breakfast. Then breakfast. Eat as much as you like. They ate significantly less. P equals 0.004. 500 milliliters is a pint glass, not a sip. Not the mouthful you take with your tablets. And there's a second one for a different problem. 117 people with long-standing constipation. Everybody ate 25 grams of fiber a day. Half of them also drank 2 liters of fluid. Both groups improved. The 2-liter group improved more. Read that carefully because the order matters. The fiber was doing the work. The water made the fiber work better. Water on its own, in somebody already drinking enough, is not a laxative. It never was. So the glass of water is fine. It just isn't the interesting one. The interesting one is the next thing most people reach for. Rule 2. Don't touch coffee for 90 minutes after you wake up. The argument goes like this. Cortisol is already climbing. Caffeine pushes it higher. You stack one on the other, you burn through your morning, and you crash at 2 in the afternoon. It is a tidy argument. And the first half of it is true. We just put the number on screen. So I went looking for the trial. Somebody delays their coffee, somebody doesn't. There is no such trial. Not for energy, not for the afternoon crash, not for cortisol. Nobody has run it. That doesn't make the rule wrong. It makes it untested. And those are different things, and you're allowed to know which one you've been given. But there is something better than nothing here, and it goes the other way. 2005. 96 healthy men and women, double-blind, crossover, 4 weeks. They took caffeine away for 5 days, then gave a dose at 9 in the morning. Cortisol jumped, exactly as the rule predicts. Then they had people take 300 milligrams a day, call it 2 or 3 cups, for 5 days first, and gave the same 9 a.m. dose. Nothing. The cortisol response to the morning dose was abolished. Read what that means. In somebody who drinks coffee every morning, which is the exact person this rule is aimed at, there is no morning cortisol spike from coffee to avoid. Their body stopped producing one within 5 days. The afternoon cup still moved it. The morning one didn't. Careful here, because this is where somebody would oversell it. 96 healthy adults, young, 5 days. It does not say caffeine does nothing. The author's own line is that the response is reduced, but not eliminated in daily users. Now, the thing I actually came here to tell you. 2008. A small pharmacokinetic study, 8 patients, 10 healthy controls. They took levothyroxine, the thyroid tablet, and they took it with espresso. The amount of drug that got into them fell by 27th to 36%. The peak level fell by 19 to 36, and the peak arrived about 40 minutes late. And then the line that matters. When the coffee came 60 minutes after the tablet, the effect was gone. This is the part I'd want said plainly if it were my father, so I'm going to be careful with it. If you take a thyroid tablet with your first coffee every morning for years, you may be taking 2/3 of your dose. And the way that shows up is tiredness and cold and putting on weight, which at 63, everybody, including you, will file under getting older. Nobody failed you by not mentioning it. It is genuinely not well known, but you should have been told. Now scope it, because a finding that isn't scoped is worth nothing. 8 patients. Espresso, not a mug of filter. Tablets, not the liquid formulation. And the liquid one has since been tested and behaves differently. Small study, real effect, free to act on. So that's the coffee, which brings us to the food, and the catch there is not the one you're expecting. Rule 3. Eat a good breakfast. Useless advice. So here are the only 2 numbers in it that anybody has actually measured. Number 1, beta-glucan. It's the soluble fiber in oats, the thing that makes porridge go thick. In February this year, the European Food Safety Panel finished reviewing it. 16 human intervention studies, 55 separate comparisons. They concluded a cause and effect relationship. That is the strongest thing said about any food in this entire video. And they published the amount. This is the bit nobody repeats. 3 grams of beta-glucan for each 30 grams of carbohydrate in the meal. In your kitchen, that's somewhere around 60 to 75 grams of dry oats. 2/3 of a cup, up to a full 1. Most people pour about 40. I did too. So the honest version is porridge works, and most of us are eating about half the amount that was tested. Weigh it once. Not forever, once, so you know what your bowl looks like. And read your own packet, because oats differ, and I am not going to pretend they don't. Number 2, protein. And this one is specifically an over 60 number. As you age, the muscle-building machinery gets harder to switch on. A 25-year-old does it with about 20 grams of protein in a meal. Somebody your age needs closer to 25 to 30. Not more per day necessarily, more per meal. Because below the threshold, the switch doesn't flip at all. 4 eggs, or a large pot of Greek yogurt and 1 egg, and a bowl of cereal with milk, the thing most people your age actually eat, comes in under 10. That's the gap. Not a moral failing, not sugar, not seed oils. Now the fourth rule, and it's the one with the best story attached, which is exactly why I want to slow down on it. Rule 4. Fermented food. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi. There is one good trial here, and it is genuinely interesting. 2021. Stanford. 36 healthy adults split in two. 10 weeks. One group ate 6 servings of fermented food a day. The other group ate a high-fiber diet. In the fermented group, the variety of organisms in the gut went up, and 19 inflammatory markers in the blood went down. Now the part that never gets quoted, and it's the more useful half. In the high-fiber group, diversity did not go up, and not one of those 19 markers came down. 18 people per arm, healthy adults. No untreated control group. 10 weeks. Hold it loosely, but hold both halves. The study that made fermented food famous is the same study that says a high-fiber diet did not rebuild anybody's microbiome in 10 weeks. 6 servings a day, by the way. Not a spoonful of sauerkraut on a Tuesday. Now, the catch. And I told you it wasn't the one you were expecting. It isn't your gut. It's the same tablet from 10 minutes ago. Fiber does the same thing coffee does. So does calcium. So does iron. Which means the better breakfast I just spent 3 minutes recommending to you is, for one specific person, a new reason their tablet stops working. The fix costs nothing. Tablet first with water. Everything else an hour later. 2 more, quickly, and they're both for people on medication. Sauerkraut and kimchi are salt preserved. That's the method, not a flaw. But if you're watching sodium, a daily portion is not a free food. And the water. Most people should drink more. Some people are specifically told not to. If you're on a water tablet, or an antidepressant, or you've been given a fluid limit, half a liter extra every morning is a question for your pharmacist, not a health tip. And if you're on medicine that suppresses your immune system, live cultures are a conversation too. There are published cases of the organisms in probiotics ending up in the bloodstream. Rare, real, documented. No documented interaction is not proof of no interaction. Take your actual list, the tablets, not a photo of the front of one, to your pharmacist. That check is free and takes about 5 minutes. And if you have trouble swallowing, you're losing weight you didn't mean to lose, there's bleeding or your bowels have changed and stayed changed, that is a call to the surgery this week. That is not a breakfast question. 5 things people say about your first hour that the research does not support. 1. That warm water protects your stomach lining. There is no human trial. It's a preference. 2. That cold water shuts down your digestion. Your stomach reheats it in about 5 minutes. 3. That delaying coffee 90 minutes prevents an afternoon crash. Never tested. Not once. 4. That a high-fiber diet rebuilds your microbiome. In the one 10-week trial that measured it, it didn't. 5. That everybody has to eat breakfast. 13 randomized trials say the people told to skip it were slightly lighter. Small, short, weak. But it is the opposite of what you were told. So, your first hour. The warm water, skip it. Drink it warm if you like it warm. Nothing is happening. Delaying your coffee for cortisol, skip that too. Untested, and in a daily coffee drinker, the spike it's protecting you from has already stopped happening. The glass of water, situational. Before a meal, in somebody your age, it genuinely reduced how much they ate. Alongside fiber, it helps things move. On its own, in somebody already drinking enough, it does nothing much. And for some people, it's the wrong advice entirely. The breakfast, worth it, and it's the only place in this video where the amounts are settled. 60 to 75 grams of dry oats,
25 to 30 grams of protein, and the 60 minutes between your thyroid tablet and your coffee. Worth it, and it's free, and it may be the only thing in this 15 minutes that changes a number on a blood test. There are no links under this video. There is nothing here to buy. The whole answer is oats, eggs, and a clock. You came to find out what should hit your stomach first. Mostly, it doesn't matter. The gap after it does. 2 things I genuinely like to know in the comments. Do you take a thyroid tablet, and what do you take it with? And has anyone ever mentioned the hour to you? If the answer is no, say so. That's a useful answer, and it's the one nobody posts. Now, I mentioned adding fiber to your breakfast, and I left something out on purpose. There's one prebiotic fiber added to yogurts, bars, and gut health powders. Above about 10 grams a day, it bloats a lot of people badly, and it's on labels you'd never suspect. That's the next one, and it's on screen now. There's a verdict like this one every Saturday. If you'd rather have the answer already waiting, next time somebody recommends you something, that's what the subscribe button is for. And if you remember one thing out of the last quarter of an hour, remember this. The order of your morning barely matters. The gap between your tablet and your coffee does. That's what the research says. What you do with it is between you and your pharmacist. I'll see you next time.